Welcome to Module 5, Nation-State Case Studies. We previously explored how corporations are transforming their balance sheets and even their brand identity with Bitcoin. Now, we'll take that conversation to the sovereign level, where the stakes are higher and the implications are global. Nation-states are beginning to recognize what corporations already have, that Bitcoin isn't a speculative asset, it's a strategic reserve asset, a tool for sovereignty, and a hedge against monetary uncertainty and the politicization of traditional financial systems. Tariffs, sanctions, censorship, debasement. Bitcoin helps a sovereign nation diversify its reserves into a neutral, apolitical reserve asset. And some countries have already gone down the Bitcoin rabbit hole. Let's see who is leading the way, starting with El Salvador. Just a few years ago, El Salvador was mainly known for all the wrong reasons: gang violence and economic instability. But in 2021, it shocked the world by becoming the first country to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender and to begin acquiring Bitcoin for its national treasury. The government has shown the power of dollar cost averaging on the world stage. It has pledged to buy 1 Bitcoin per day and has kept its promise so far. The result is today, El Salvador is sitting on nearly 400 million in unrealized Bitcoin gains. Not too bad. Critics dismissed El Salvador's Bitcoin policy as reckless, but the country embraced the technology beyond just buying it. It's integrated Bitcoin into its tourism branding, launched a dedicated Bitcoin office, and even implemented a public education program around Bitcoin. It's more than just optics. Since adopting Bitcoin, El Salvador has reported a reduction in external debt ratios, improved fiscal performance, and even credit rating upgrades from major agencies. Bitcoin has improved the country's financial standing and rebranded it on the world stage. The same media that once focused on crime and poverty now spotlight innovation, volcano geothermal mining, and sovereign control over their destiny. Then there's Bhutan. Bhutan is a remote Himalayan kingdom best known for its commitment to gross national happiness. But recently, it has quietly become a Bitcoin mining powerhouse. Leveraging its abundant hydroelectric power, the country began mining Bitcoin using state-owned infrastructure and kept it secret for years. When the strategy was finally revealed, the results were striking. Bitcoin mining contributed roughly 40% of Bhutan's entire GDP in 2024. That revenue is now funding environmental initiatives, tech infrastructure, and job creation, helping to reverse brain drain by giving Bhutanese engineers and data scientists a reason to stay. This isn't about speculation. For Bhutan, Bitcoin is an industrial policy. It's a way to monetize stranded energy and export electricity value without building transmission lines or relying on external creditors. Bhutan turned waterfalls into digital reserves, and in doing so, unlocked a new kind of national resource. At its core, Bitcoin is energy policy. It's the bridge between stranded electrons and sovereign capital. For energy-rich but capital-constrained nations, it's a way to convert abundant power into balance sheet strength. And this leads us to the United States. Long criticized for lagging behind on digital asset policy, the US is now positioning itself to become a Bitcoin superpower. In 2025, the White House issued an executive order establishing a strategic Bitcoin reserve. It was an unprecedented signal that the US government sees Bitcoin not as a threat, but as a national asset. The reserve, which is now being stood up by the Treasury and Commerce departments, is designed to hold Bitcoin and never sell it. Even more notable, the executive order calls for the development of strategies to acquire additional Bitcoin. This is truly a turning point. The world's most powerful government publicly recognizes the benefits of adding Bitcoin to its balance sheet, and it's exploring ways to hold and acquire more as a matter of strategic policy. This isn't about retail investors anymore. It's about monetary independence, geopolitical leverage, and remaining a financial and technological power in the digital age. That leads us to another reason the US is leaning in now. Bitcoin is a technological breakthrough, and America has always led in technology. From railroads to airplanes to microchips, the internet and Silicon Valley, the US has always been at the forefront of innovation. Across these case studies, one thing becomes clear. These moves aren't just about diversification. They're about defense. Defense against debasement, against monetary control, against the fragility of a debt-based system, and against wasted energy, and against technological disruption. Bitcoin offers nations a way to store energy, time, and wealth in a form of money that can't be printed, censored, or seized. In a world of rising debt loads, manipulated interest rates, and weaponized payment rails, Bitcoin acts as an escape valve. Together, El Salvador, Bhutan, and the US are painting a clear picture. Bitcoin is emerging as a pillar of 21st century sovereignty. For governments and public institutions, secure custody and compliant infrastructure are critical. Some choose to work with regulated custodians that operate across multiple jurisdictions, offering collaborative custody models, policy controls, and support for assets that may earn rewards alongside their Bitcoin reserves. BitGo has provided this type of infrastructure for corporations, funds, and institutions globally. Not every nation will move first, but the early adopters are already reaping the rewards. And here's the kicker. We're only at the beginning. We are still early. According to River's 2025 Bitcoin adoption report, just 18 countries, less than 10% of all nations, are estimated to hold Bitcoin today. Some through direct purchases, others through mining, asset seizures, or sovereign wealth fund exposure. But the vast majority are still on the sidelines. And that won't last. As the fiat era falters and energy policy merges with monetary policy, Bitcoin is becoming a geopolitical asset, quietly accumulating on nation-state balance sheets. The signal is out there, and for governments paying attention, the race has already begun. That concludes Module 5. You've seen how El Salvador, Bhutan, and now even the US are pioneering new models for monetary independence and resilience through Bitcoin. What started as a corporate treasury strategy is now becoming sovereign policy. In Module 6, we'll shift from case studies to frameworks, exploring how to design a Bitcoin treasury strategy that aligns with your institution's goals.